Out into the wild, indigenous child, survive the formidable trials. I stand in the rain, scanning the plains in pursuit to the bitter the spire. Who's got everything that I love and to blame? Descent is my name.
Ducky, I think we're lost.
Shut up. We are not lost. I just don't know exactly where we are.
We've been walking for days.
I understand that, but we will eventually get to a town, and we can finally get something to eat.
Wait.
What's that? What the? When did we get to New York?
I don't know. We should break in.
That sounds awesome! Wow, I cannot believe this.
I wonder if it still works.
Only one way to find out. Well, let's see if this works. I really wish she didn't sit in a wheelchair.
No fucking way.
It worked. How the hell did that work?
It wasn't supposed to work.
Huh. Hi, I'm Ducky.
And I'm Big Red.
And we're Red Duck Reviews. And today we are reporting to you live from Xavier's Institute for Gifted Youngsters.
Today we're going to review the movie X-Men Days of Future Past.
And when the movie opens up, we see a New York City that has been devastated by the Sentinels, who are gathering up both mutants and humans who have helped mutants.
One of the first scenes that we see is Kitty Pryde with Warpath and Bishop with a few more mutants, and they're running from the Sentinels. Kitty Pryde has developed this new power that lets her send people's subconscious into their past. Now, when I first heard about this concept, it made my brain hurt. So, as they're fighting, one of the first things that you see the Sentinels break in, they start killing the mutants. And for me, that was not something that I was ready for. And when I seen it, my mind was blown. I was like, are you serious? It's been 2 minutes into the movie, and they're already killing them off? I mean, I was really, really starting to freak out just within the first couple minutes of the movie.
Yeah, I was really surprised. They were just starting to kill off everyone. Iceman gets decapitated, and while this is going on, and the other ones are fighting, Kitty and Bishop are running through the building trying to get to a safe spot for Kitty to do her thing. And at first we're like, what is she doing? And he sits down in this chair, and then she uses her powers that must have evolved from her phasing abilities. I'm going to guess that's like phasing their minds, if you want to call it that.
Yeah,
and
I was never really one of the biggest, X-Men fans. I was more DC, but, I watched the Uncanny X-Men and things like that. I don't remember her having any kind of power like that. Her biggest power to me was being able to walk through walls and that kind of thing.
Yeah, me too. And when everyone's dead and the Sentinels finally break into the room, all of a sudden it cuts away, and everyone's gone. And it turns out that, he was able to send Bishop's subconscious mind a couple of days into the past, so that way they would be ready for the Sentinels and they would already be gone.
Now, one of the biggest things that I found that I did not like was, as they go through and they use this power, you see it in the beginning. She uses her powers on it, they go back, they are able to move before the Sentinels find them. throughout the movie, the power is never explained. How did she find out that she had this power? How did it evolve? You know, it's not like, you know, just one day she woke up and she had the inner feelings that she could send people subconscious to the past. That was one thing that I found that I wasn't too happy about. It didn't add any, you know, negatives to the movie for me. It was still really cool power. I still really liked what they did with it. I just wish they would have explained it more.
Yeah, in the trailers, I guess I never really noticed, but in the trailers, I thought Professor Xavier was the one that was doing that, but it turns out, no, it was Kitty, yeah? And originally they wanted to send Professor Xavier into the past, but she said that she can only, like, go back really a few weeks at most before it starts ripping apart your minds, huh? And then Logan's like, well, what if you send someone back who can heal faster than their minds ripped apart? So they end up sending Wolverine back, which is awesome because Wolverine is my favorite character of the X-Men movies. I know a lot of people think that Hugh Jackman and Wolverine are way overused. I don't think that because I think Hugh Jackman is awesome. I think Wolverine is awesome. And, I mean, if he was doing a bad job, then yeah, it's like, don't use him, but he isn't doing a bad job. He is great in all the movies that he has been in, so I don't see any problem with his character being the main one that goes into the past.
Yeah, I kind of agree with both sides. I mean, I can see where he's being overused. I mean, this is his 6th movie, and I don't think his 6th X-Men movie, and I don't see him was, you know, really out of any of them. He even made a cameo appearance in First Class. But at the same time, I mean, if it's not broke, why fix it? He's done really good. I mean, look at some of the earlier, you know, drawings. Watch Uncanny X-Men, something like that, before any of the X-Men movies were made. Hugh Jackman looks just like Wolverine. Why would you use anybody else? Why would you work harder than you would have to? And if you love playing the role, then why not use him? I mean, it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, and another character I thought that was perfect casting, and unfortunately he wasn't. You only see him in a cameo toward the end, but Kelsey Grammer as Beast.
Oh yeah. I don't know what they were doing in First Class. That was like you said, he looked more like a hairy blue cat.
Yeah, the actor who played him in First Class and inside this one, you know, the young Hank McCoy, he was fine. He was really good. But the makeup that they had for him and Mystique in First Class, that makeup was horrible. Huh?
Yeah, Mystique looked like she had some kind of like skin condition where her hair was crawling back from the, you know.
Yeah, it's like, you know, and Jennifer Lawrence, I love her in The Hunger Games. I loved her as young Mystique in First Class. And I think she is a very beautiful woman. But whenever she was in Mystique form in First Class, she looked ugly because of the bad makeup job. Inside this one, Future Past, they did a superb job. A superb job with her makeup. She looks beautiful even in Mystique form, which is how it should be.
Yeah, and I mean, in First Class, again, not to nitpick on it too much, but her hair, it was like it had an extra volume, like a whole other layer underneath. And in this one, in Days of Future Past, it was slick. It had it where it was slicked back, you know, like you normally see with Mystique, which was really awesome. They did a really good job on both of those characters with Beast and Mystique. Which was a really nice addition if you go back and you actually watch First Class. I mean, those were terrible. I'm glad that they found a new individual in the makeup department to get them looking the way that they're supposed to.
Yeah, and the actors who portrayed the young Xavier and Magneto, excellent. I'm glad, obviously, they got the actors from First Class to reprise their roles. What was it? It was Michael Fassbender as young Magneto, and James, and I apologize.
McAvey, it's whatever it says right here.
Yeah.
That is it.
And we apologize if we mispronounce anyone's name. We're really bad at that, unfortunately. But And of course, I loved seeing Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen as the elder Xavier and Magneto.
Oh yeah, and another thing that's really cool, I don't know how much you guys know about the actors themselves, but in real life, they're inseparable. I mean, they're best friends, which is awesome. And, you know, I wish I'd have been there when they were first, like, offered, you know, to do any of the X-Men movies. You know, they're probably both hanging out, and they found them in the same spot kind of thing. And it was like, hey, you guys want to be mortal enemies? And they kind of looked at each other and was like, yeah! You know, that'd have been something that would have been really cool that I wish that I could have been there to see. But yeah, I mean, if you guys ever go and check it out, you know, they're like best friends in real life, which makes it even cooler, you know, that they were able to do the movies together.
All right, now the main. Well, I would consider him the main villain. Some people say that he had not really a main character, but I did Peter Dinklage as Trask.
Oh yeah, they said that there was a lot of people that said there was no definitive villain in this movie, which I don't understand. I mean, he was the main villain. He was the one that created the Sentinels. He was the one that everybody was after to kill. He was definitive. He just wasn't.
He wasn't like the.
He wasn't personally offensive in the movie.
Yeah.
He was. You know, he was more of like an Xavier kind of, you know, fighting style, if you would call it. You know, he was using his mind and his technology that he had to fight the battles rather than him being on the forefront. You know, I don't quite think he'd have measured.
Yeah, and I love Peter Dinklage. He is awesome in Game of Thrones, and he was awesome in this. And I don't think the Trask character in the comics, I don't think he was a midget. I think he was a regular person. But I don't think they could have gotten anyone else to do a better job.
No, he did a really good job.
I honestly don't. Peter Dinklage will never have problems getting acting jobs because he is incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Oh yeah, he did a really, really good job.
And there was a couple of things that weren't explained, and I'm okay with them not explaining it because if they did, it would just be awkward exposition, and there really wouldn't have been a spot for it. But Xavier's body, yeah. Where did he get a new body? Yeah, because you know his body was completely vaporized in the third X-Men movie by Jean Grey. Yeah, when she was freaking out. And now at the end, I think it was like a post-credit scene. We see that he had put his mind into a comatose patient. So his mind did survive, but where did he get a new body from?
Yeah, the only thing that I could think of was either he put it into the other body and he was using that body and cloaking himself like, you know, that he did. You've seen several times with Mystique where he changed Trask to look like himself to keep her from shooting him. Pulling something like that, I would find that to be really exhausting. The only other thing I could think of, which you have to stretch a little bit, was, you know, during the scenes of the movie, he was projecting projecting himself, you know, in their consciousness so that they were all there so he could talk to him, and he was not, you know, physically there. He was just there in their mental state. The only thing that I don't understand that you brought up, which would falsify that, would be in one of the ending scenes of the movie, he does one of these to keep the Sentinel from.
Yeah, so he was physically there. Otherwise, he wouldn't worry about getting blasted, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna guess that if you have any like thoughts on that, go ahead, leave a comment below, and there's a lot of people that come up with some like really out there theories, but they're usually pretty good. All right, the next thing is Wolverine's metal claws.
Yeah.
He had metal claws in the future. Now, I don't know where this takes place last, because it's in the future. And at the end of The Wolverine, he loses his metal claws. They get cut off, and then he just has his bone claws again. And we see that because he draws his claws out inside the airport when Magneto reveals himself. So he never got his metal claws back at that point. So my question is, why does he have metal claws in the future? Huh?
Yeah, and the only other things that I can think of is at the end of the movie, he's tossed by Magneto into the water, and he's pulled up by Stryker. But then the next, not 2 seconds later, you see it's not really Stryker, and that it's really Mystique or Raven. And is that foreshadow to make you think that the people that are making these movies are going to turn around and say that Stryker was really just an adaptation of Mystique? Or, was Mystique the one with the underground facility to give him his metal claws? That's really stretching it, I know. But I mean, for someone that's not into the comics and that kind of thing, and they're just going and watching the movies, they're left to think. So Mystique becomes, Stryker and turns Wolverine into.
Yeah, we don't see what happens to. I mean, Stryker gets away. I mean, he's not killed or anything. But we don't see what happens to him. And yeah, I don't understand. I'm guessing maybe she did that so that way Wolverine got out of the water. Maybe because he may have just ended up staying there until someone else stumbled upon him. But I was really confused with that as well.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they're going to leave it open-ended, and it's going to be some kind of half-baked Star Wars. You watch the first 3, and then you watch these newer ones, and then you have to jump back to the older ones to follow along with the newer story. I have a really bad feeling. And I mean, who knows? They could sum everything up in the next movie, Apocalypse, but who knows for sure? That's another thing that's there that they kind of just half threw in there, and they kind of leaves you wondering is Quicksilver, one of the newer characters that they introduced in this movie. He has the super speed, and he breaks out Magneto.
He was awesome. He really was. And then after they break out Magneto, he goes, "Okay, see you later." And then he's gone.
They never brought him in, and they're in the elevator. They're going to escape, and he's like, "So you have the ability to control metal? My mom once knew a guy that could do that. So were you?
So
was he being like, so you my daddy, or what was he doing? Was that their attempt at trying to put in there? Hey, for you people out there that don't know, Quicksilver really is Magneto's son, but we're not actually going to tell you that. You're going to have to guess for yourself and ask people."
Yeah, I mean, in the comics, Quicksilver is Magneto's son, and so is Scarlet Witch. Now, I don't read comics that much. The most that I know is what I read on the internet. But I think Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch were supposed to be fraternal twins, I'm thinking. But inside the movie, when they cut to Quicksilver watching the TV of, when the attack's going on in DC, you see a little girl sitting in his lap, and she has red hair. I'm going to guess that that's supposed to be Scarlet Witch, but she looks a lot younger than him, so they couldn't be fraternal twins there. So my question is she also the daughter of Magneto? Did he just go there? Okay, he slept with her, left, then he came back when Quicksilver was like a little boy, did it again, and then that resulted in the daughter. There's no explanation for that. So.
Yeah, they leave a lot of things that I found at least unanswered with things that are like that. I mean, who knows? They could put them into the next movie. I mean, Wolverine was the one that just knew who Quicksilver was, and he knew where to find him at. So he goes and he goes looking for him in his younger self when he's in the past. So does that mean in Apocalypse, when we fast forward to the future, that we're going to see Quicksilver again? It'd be really awesome. But
I would like to.
Yeah, I would like to too. But I have my doubts because they cut him out. What was it like? Other than that, 10, maybe 15 minutes that he was in the movie, where they actually find him, and then he helps them break out. You literally, when they leave the Pentagon, never see him again.
Except for that one. Except for that one little quick scene with him watching the news of the DC. You know?
Well, yes, but they're not together. I mean, if you're in the past, you have limited resources, and you have to get something done as fast as you can. If there is somebody that can speed through 50 armed guards with guns, like that, why wouldn't you keep him?
Yeah, and that's exactly what he does. They get to the kitchen area after breaking Magneto out, and there's armed guards everywhere. They have plastic guns, so Magneto can't use his powers to like stop the bullets. And let's see, I'm trying to think. It was the he flipped up a whole bunch of knives, but then Quicksilver activates his super speed, and like literally everything like at a standstill because he's that fast. And he goes around, he does this, just like pokes the guy, and that's pretty much like an equivalent to a punch. And he moves the guys around, you know, pushes the bullets to the side and whatnot. So that way, not only do they knock themselves out, and the ones that he knocked out, but all the bullets end up missing Magneto and Xavier. And that scene was awesome. Like, they really should have brought him along. Although, okay, I know people are going to say if they did that, then things would be way too easy for them. I'm like, okay, I can see that, but I would like to have seen more of them.
Yeah, it'd been like having giant birds drop the ring into the volcano instead of having a bunch of little midgets run around do it. Anyway, but and another thing that I can think of is if they're going into the past and they're changing the past, you don't want to change it too much. You know, the whole you step on a butterfly, you destroy the world in the future kind of thing. So I could see, you know, having them help him, or them having him help them break into the Pentagon, and then trying to leave him alone so they don't swerve his past too much. I could see that, but at the same time,
it would have been awesome.
It would have been awesome, but you'd think that they would like find some way, just some way to keep that from happening. Mention that, you know. You have to think, okay, well, why couldn't they do that? Okay, so it could mess up his past. He could go down another path. It could completely change his story. I can see that, but you never said that. Nothing was ever said about it. You just leave him like, okay, we're done with him.
Yeah.
We're just going to leave him at his house, and then we're going to go do the rest of the stuff by ourselves.
Well, they left him at the airport, but yeah. But, another thing that I was really confused on, Hank takes his serum to make himself appear normal. And, you know, he says that he takes just enough to keep himself balanced. So if he gets stressed out, he pretty much, lack of a better term, he hulks out into beast form. And Xavier uses he uses this serum as well. And it gives him the ability to walk again, and he loses his powers. So my question is, why would the serum give him the ability to walk? His paralysis is not connected to his powers. He was shot in the spine inside first class. That's how he became paralyzed. So why is taking the serum letting him walk? And, I mean, losing his powers, I can understand that, because at this point in his life, he is at the lowest of lows. He's drinking. He's taking large doses of the serum, so he's basically a drug addict.
Yeah, the 2014 version of the drug addict. They can't pull any more like speedy, you know, using speed and things like that.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, he was basically a drug addict, so he took a lot of serum, and that's why he couldn't use his abilities. So I understand that, but why would he have the ability to walk? If you guys can think of like any like plausible reason, let us know in the comments below, because I honestly can't think of a reason why. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you guys got any other questions or comments or anything, feel free to leave them in the comment section. And as always, guys, subscribe and like. And then if you like the movie, favorite the movie too.
The movie is, we recommend you go see this movie, and I am going to rate this our highest rating that we have on here,
which is
Duckin' Awesome.
Alright guys, have a nice day.